guys, welcome back to another episode of Balanced and Bougie. And we are here today to talk about whatever we want. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. It's a catch-up day. It's a free flow day. And I just turned my microphone up, Erica. Am I blowing your ears out? I realized it was like really turned down.
No, you sound a little bit louder, but it didn't make a huge difference on my computer's reading of the volume.
Love it. Okay, good. We're tech girlies. We're figuring it out. So,
Oh my gosh, you guys, it just took me 40 minutes to get my computer to be able to join Riverside as, well, technically Brooke hosts and then I join in because we can't both be hosting or it would eat itself. And I used my computer. It was like, cannot connect to server. I then used another computer and it was also saying the same thing. And now we're just using my phone's Wi-Fi. So I'm both, we're both like tech geniuses because we did come up with a solution, but it did take 40 minutes and I didn't solve anything. We just did a shortcut. But
we just did a little workaround. Yeah. You know what? It's fine. It was a firewall. Who knows how to deal with those?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? We're not 27-year-old white boys working in tech. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Go upstairs to the 27-year-old white boy working in tech and ask him to fix my computer? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that, but he's on a work call, so sad.
It is. So we did the workaround. I also, when we were talking about this, it's been a hot minute since I've caught up on the Kardashians show for many a reason. But do you remember that Kourtney prays for a wall of fire around Travis when he performs? And I'm like, meanwhile, we're trying to break said wall of fire to just
Oh my gosh, yeah, she does like a wall of fire to protect him from like evil spirit or something like that.
Yeah, she like prays. She's like, please put a ring of wall of fire. And I remember we looked at each other, we're like, what is happening? Like, what is she praying for?
Everything she says is exhilarating.
It is. And it's all monotone. So it's such a fun, like, push and pull feel because you're like, she just said some weird shit, but like, her voice didn't go up at all.
Right, because she could be deadpan sarcastic or fully serious. You will never know. She gives no inkling, no communication.
It's wild and it's so fun. That's why, like, she drives me absolutely mad. A lot of them do, but I also I kind of lean in when she starts talking.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are we gonna get?
Actually, maybe she's the dream guest on my podcast. That's a JoJo Siwa reference. But I would enjoy getting to talk to her and just like picking her mind and also seeing how she replies like in real time. Like how much is it her show persona and how much is it who she actually is?
Yeah. No, that's so true. Can they separate the two anymore now? I don't even know.
It has to meld together. Like it must. It feels a bit existential if I think about it too long.
Yeah. I have so many rabbit holes we could go down.
Actually, the podcast is now just a Kardashian review podcast. I think we actually have done an episode where we just talked about the Kardashians because it's so fascinating.
It is. And their faces change every single season, like in very scary ways. But talking about that, like molding into like what's real, I just can't imagine.
And that reminds me, I feel the need. I don't know if any of you guys are on TikTok, but there's this lady who's 53 years old, and she's gotten pretty big on TikTok recently because she went to Guatemala to get a facelift. And I kid you not, it's like witchcraft. She is there, it's healing. So she still has like bruises under her eyes and like, weird pulling of the skin in certain spots. Yeah. But she looks like 25. It is mind-boggling. I'm assuming she took really good care of her skin before because she did have nice skin. It was just quite like sagging, which maybe she lost a lot of weight or something, but her skin was like quite beautiful. But she looks crazy young. And I'm just like, the world's not real anymore.
No, it's not.
You can't trust anything. You can't trust your eyes. Can't trust nothing.
No, because 16-year-olds look 27 and 50-year-olds look 25. And you're like, what is happening? It's spooky. And one of those things, like, I want to see, again, I feel like I'm using the Kardashians as a reference, like one of them in real life, just to, because, it's like, it's the face built for social media, which still already to me looks different, especially
Hmm.
when you compare pictures. But like in the real world, I don't know. I wonder how my brain would try to like figure out what's going on with their faces.
I totally agree. I feel like it's becoming a hot conversation right now, especially when people are like watching this season of Love Island, which I'm not watching, but I do watch like the recaps online. And these girls, like you cannot guess their age at all. And it's interesting because from the front, a lot of them do look in a way that I think is like very stereotypically beautiful to social media. Like it would have looked really weird 10 years ago, but right now that's the goal. But then
Hmm.
they like turn to the side. And I'm not trying to like body shame these women because they are beautiful and they are obviously using it as a currency that I do not have. But from the side, their face doesn't look like any face I've ever seen in the world, like naturally,
Yeah.
because the filler is the way they're adding filler to make the front shape isn't accounting for how it's looking from the side. And so
Hmm.
I agree. I would love to kind of meet with some of these people in real life without the filters of TV, without the retouched photos, without the Snapchat filter and kind of see what they're working with in real life.
Yeah. And like I wonder too if like give it a decade if like research is going to come out just because again how our brain is constantly analyzing things around us and taking different cues and
Mm-hmm.
stuff about like what someone's demeanor tells us and if, like and when we're changing and freezing and shifting like I'm sure there's like some level of the brain that's like really trying to calculate this difference and I don't know why that aspect even really interests me.
That's so fascinating, and I had never considered it, but right now I'm having like a horror reaction to the idea of like, what is that doing to infants? Like babies.
Oh,
So
yeah.
babies, if their mom's face is like, or their dad's face, this isn't all on mom, right? But like if the face is frozen due to different like changes, that must change the baby's development of learning to read humans, right? And that's becoming more and more normal. I think for you and I, we're in the Midwest, and there's always the joke that the Midwest is like 10 years behind in
Hmm.
like fashion, which I'm fine with. Uh, but like if you go to either coast, uh, plastic surgery is the standard, is the norm. Even so far in as like Utah, like the number one plastic surgery place in the world, there's no way this is not having some sort of like ripple effect on children.
Yeah. Yeah, and like even as far as Botox, like which we've talked about,
Mm-hmm.
here that's something that's like okay, in your 40s or 50s maybe you get it and now it's like women our age are getting
Mm-hmm.
Botox. And so we've talked about this kind of like just ourselves off camera, the weird stress that put like should I for many reasons I want to avoid it, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of messes with you like, oh my gosh, well, how do I show up in the world then when everyone around me has this? Like, it's hard to let it not seep in. But then,
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I really liked your perspective of like, give it 10 years and what's that shift going to be? Which I want you to explain it because you'll explain it better.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking the beauty standard is never going to work in our favor. So once
Yeah.
something is attainable or doable, it is going to shift the opposite way. Like even just think of like as recently as like the buccal fat removal where people were getting like the fat under their cheeks like kind of hollowed out so they would have those really defined line from their mouth up to their ear almost. That very quickly became like no longer
Mhm.
a super desirable trait that people were getting plastic surgery for. And so that was like kind of a speed run of many things that happen. But I also really think about the first time this ever affected me is I almost got microblading when it was 2015, 2016. Because my eye, like, I have very pale eyebrows. This is like painted on a little bit, friends, just so it shows up. I don't, whatever. And I didn't want to have to do it every day.
Mhm.
But if I would have done it, it would be in the style of 2015, 2016 brows. And I would have those for the rest of my life. And that is so out now. And so I'm
Mhm.
thinking, I'm curious to see, and I don't wish this upon the people who are having the surgery done. I truly don't. But I'm really curious in 5 to 10 years, are those alterations going to be the opposite of what is desirable? Because the goalpost has to always be moved to something else.
Yeah. Yeah, then natural, right? Smile lines or like expression on one's face
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, is there going to then be a corrective surgery to like give things back in the right spots
Yeah.
on your face to show expression, which is crazy. But yeah, it's got to generate money, right? So the
Exactly.
styles always have to come back. Like you guys, the boot cut and flare leggings from
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago in high school, they came back, but of course, not black. They got to be brown. They're better fitted. They're different. Like, and I love them. Don't get me wrong. Did I buy
Yeah.
them? Yes, but I was. I still have mine from high school, and they're
Mm-hmm.
worn out as heck. And maybe someone else is like, "Yeah, Brooke, don't wear those." But I actually feel like I'm getting away with something. So I was like, "Huh, I saved these, and I can wear them again." But I do notice slight differences
Mm-hmm.
that, like, if I'm really on trend, I'm not wearing those anymore because of
Right.
like where the flare starts.
And it's even also just such a huge like rebranding of the same thing, right? They go from they
Yes.
were just called yoga pants. That's what they were called, yoga pants, and that was like the cut that they had was a tiny bit of a flare out, right? And now it's oh no, instead of that we had leggings for so many years, and now instead of just going back to yoga pants, they're flared leggings.
Yeah.
And so then it's not yoga pants, so then you still do have to buy a whole new thing. And again, guilty. I have two or three pairs of flared leggings and they're all under the tag flared leggings. Like
Yeah.
I'm I'm with everyone else and doing it, but it is so funny to think it is just a recycle.
Hmm. In the fashion industry, it always is. So
Yeah.
recycle
I'm
with a spin.
I'm kind of obsessed with it a little bit right now because there is this new it's probably not a super new trend, but there's this trend of these like metal belts that girls are wearing to like the festivals this year, and a lot of times they wear them around their waist. I think they're very like western inspired and also Native American inspired.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm actually going to go get
I
it.
love this.
Okay. For those of you who are listening, I have
Yes.
this metal belt thing that
My
is like
mom had
supposed
one
to
of
gram.
those.
This is my grandma's from like 1970 something, and she was throwing it away, and I was like, "Grandma, don't." And I'm like, "This is I've literally seen this on Amazon, on Temu, all those I don't shop on Temu, but like in all those ads all the time." And I was like, "Free from my
Yeah.
grandma's basement." That's what we should all be doing right now.
Yeah. Honestly, go hang out with your grandma, let her show her your stuff. Be like, hey, do you still wear that? Snag it.
Hmm.
Totally. I had a moment. Okay, one of the things we're gonna jump into is that we both went to see Hosier again over like past weekend. Great, amazing as always. And here's me at the t-shirt merch stand, right? Because we had to get in line twice because they didn't have a small at the first one, and then we found out they didn't have it the second one. But I'm like, I don't care. And I'm standing there. I'm like, which t-shirt do I get? And I know the one I like, but I lean over to Erica and I go, will that age well as a concert t-shirt? Because give it how long it's going to be quote unquote vintage. And I'm like, I hate myself. But like, these are the things we have to think about, right?
But isn't that a good thing though? Like if you really like zoom out for a second, like yeah, was that a bit like self-indulgent? Sure. But no, like you were being both good with your money and also good to the environment because you're thinking, is this a long-term purchase?
Exactly. Good to my future self, to my children who will completely want, which so funny because anytime I feel like maybe it is changing a little bit now with people like thrifting more and
Hmm.
vintage throwback stuff. But like if my mom was like, "Oh, this dress is really cute that I had, it would look good on you," I'm like, "Mom, I can't wear that. That's
Yeah.
just not that style's not here." But now grandma stuff, maybe.
But it's so like specific, right? Because even right
Yeah.
now, like the girls are wearing the Y2K stuff all the time, and some of it looks straight out of like what my sister would have worn in high
Mm-hmm.
school, but then
Mm-hmm.
other of it is like a twist.
Yeah.
And so if you really had what teenagers had in 2004, it would not be the cute Y2K aesthetic that the girlies are posting on Pinterest.
So true. Yeah, fit's gonna be just enough different. And
Yeah.
are we bringing Y2K style back? I don't really know.
No, I actually, it's so funny every time that one of, like, I associate with several, like, young people for, through work and through family and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, low rise jeans are back. And I'm like, they're not. They're not. You, like,
They can be.
what you think, well, they are to them. What
Yeah.
low rise means right now, thank God, does not mean what low rise meant in 2007. I'm like, guys, when I wore low rise jeans in middle school because I begged and begged and begged, I was spending half the day Like my underwear didn't fit in the pants, you guys. The pants were too low for underwear. It was crazy. And of course I was in middle school, so I was wearing underwear. But like now they're just not up to your belly button and they're like that's low rise.
Yeah. Yeah. That, you know what? Style came back around and they made it a touch better. Thank
Yes.
God. Because you're so right. Though now I mean, people do walk around like girls and like their underwear is showing and I'm like,
Mhm.
like especially at that age, I'm like my parents would murder me. They would lock
Yeah.
me up. Absolutely not. No way. But
Mhm.
and even now I'm like, I don't know if I would really do that, but totally. Like how nothing was functional in Y2K
No.
fashion. No way.
No, no, and you just felt bad about yourself.
Absolutely. And like your shoes and your clothes were like see-through colored plastic.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Sustainability, not a thing.
No, we're probably all gonna die of the plastic poisoning from the 2000s, but sometimes fashion is pain.
It really is.
Can I give you my hot take that made me think of?
Please.
My hot take is, and I would have hated myself for this when I was younger, I think that uniforms should be mandatory in school now. I
Oh,
do.
tell me more.
I've read some research about how students, teenagers specifically, are at an age where they need to prove and like rebel and experiment to prove like show who they are. And one of the main sticking points was for me in times and places where there are school uniforms, the quote unquote bad boy can show that he's a bad boy by wearing his tie wrong. Wearing it too loose, not wearing it all, not keeping the button on the top button buttoned. And same for the girl. Like she can roll her skirt a little bit so it's just a bit shorter, and she can leave the top button undone so there's a bit of clavicle showing, okay? And these communicate to the other kids the things the kids want to communicate. But now there is we've even relaxed dress code a ton because we don't want to over penalize women, which I agree with to some extent. But now I feel like you have to keep upping the ante. So the
Yeah.
kids are upping the ante with their clothing to prove what they want to communicate, which is totally age appropriate and normal to want to communicate. But the
Mhm.
way they're communicating it is, I think, harming them.
Yeah.
So I want uniforms back in schools.
I like that. And I remember that debate even when I was in school. I went to a private school. We never had uniforms. We did have a dress code, but it was like,
Mhm.
should we have uniforms? And there was always the aspect that stuck with me too about just like being able to afford the new fashions and
Mhm.
that instantly some students might not be able to express that parts of themselves due to financial reasons or different things, and that also then sets them up for an expectation that they can't meet. So
Mhm.
totally, not only have like it's maybe gotten out of hand where because I sometimes see I see clothes that like middle and high school kids wear and I'm like, they let you in the building in that?
Oh yeah. I
It's
have
crazy.
I have this strapless, like it's a one piece, like tux, it's like a onesie. What do you call those? A bodysuit.
Yeah.
And there's no back. It's just like four straps that crisscross your back. It is supposed to be sexy. Like that is the point. When I was a teacher, I was taking my kids to swim in the high school pool, and I had to like walk through the lunchroom. There was a teenage girl wearing that shirt that I wear to the bar to
Oh,
school. And I was like, who is helping these kids understand what they're communicating through their clothing? And beyond that, who is helping these kids understand that dress codes have importance to different times and places? Like I don't wear that shirt to work.
right. Actually, it's funny, like my old job has a lot of college interns, and I ran into an old coworker, and she happened to mention the things that they wear to work. She's like,
Mhm.
so much of it, she's like, I look at them and I'm like, how is that appropriate at all? And
Mhm.
I don't know, it's funny, in passing someone, seeing them for the first time in like how many years, this is what they have to tell me about the younger culture coming in. And I'm like, and they weren't even like, they were just a little bit older than me, but even they were like,
Mhm.
this is shocking. And again, I think we're both very on board for like creative expression and things like that, but there is also being appropriate at appropriate times. And
Right.
I think school is one of them.
I think so. Like I'm not saying that like teenagers shouldn't wear crop tops or anything like that. I just think they should be wearing it to like the fair
Yeah.
or to like the skate rink and not to algebra.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I totally agree. Speaking of clothes, a little bit of a pivot, but guys, when we went to see Hosier, again, I'm saying it, it's always a spiritual experience. We love that man. It was upper 80s.
Yeah, it was quite warm.
Yeah, maybe it was like upper 70s by the time 9 o'clock hit, but we were in an open air venue seeing him. This man wore a long sleeve shirt, a blazery jacket over the top, and pants, all to me that looked like wool.
He actually did mention it was an alpaca blend. So, yes, very heavy fabric.
I can't. And then he went on to a show on the East Coast like a week later and talked about how like the heat was so bad. I think he did have to like shed a layer, but he still had a long sleeve shirt on. And I was like, you, this is not Ireland. It's not cold all the time. Like, number one, we were applauding his sustainability efforts in his clothing, but we were also like, you could. You don't have to like roll up just this. You could take the jacket off.
You could take the jacket off, man. We're not we're not asking you to take everything off, but like
Right.
it is a wool blazer. You're gonna die.
The whole time. And he didn't die, surprisingly, with lights and everything on it. I can't tell you the number of times I leaned over to Erica and I'm like, how is he still wearing that jacket?
Yeah, I have no idea. And he has all the lights on him. And even though it was considered a festival, it was still like a full show because they have all of like the stage add-ons. So the lights, the effects, the moving parts, because it is like a permanent amphitheater even though it's outside. So he's having even more of these intense lighting structures facing him from all angles, and he's just like, no, I'll be fine.
Yeah. And he didn't, from what I could tell, he didn't, like, I would have a pit stain from my armpit down to, like, my thigh
Oh yeah,
if I was wearing that. And he was
dripping.
fine. Yeah, exactly.
His hair wasn't even matted to his head. Like he was doing better than I was, and I was in the audience.
Same. Shorts and, like, a bodysuit. You had, like, a crop and, like, a flowy skirt. So
Yeah.
we had breathability, and I was still like,
Yes.
I don't know how he does it.
I will say, guys, he did at one point on his right arm, he did roll up the sleeve a little bit, and at one point he did turn around and hold his arm behind his back. So we did get a bit of a flash, of forearm. But he stayed in his full suit. I don't know.
I think he knew he had to give us something. So we got two, because we were like, the ham on the back, we haven't seen that before. And the forearm, we're like, we know what you're doing. And we said prayers for any woman who was ovulating in that audience at that time. But other than
There's just something about this man who does not do anything. He does not move in a sexual way. He is not being suggestive in any manner. Nothing. He is barely moving, and it was like feral out there.
Yeah. And every time he sings the songs that like could be more suggestive, he looks like he wants it to end. The whole entire time. He's like, I'm singing this for you because God, you guys love this song because you're so, and we're just like, gimme, gimme, gimme. Like all the girls, the men, it doesn't matter. Everybody's just like, and it's so funny because yeah, on the flip side, you have like the Harry Styles and Benson Boone's out there like low cut V stripe, like jumping around, back flipping everywhere. This man stands, hands in pockets, sings about lust, and we're all like, oh my God.
I could not handle him putting his hands in his pockets during the song Movement, where he's like, you
yeah.
are a call to movement. And then he basically describes like the way two people move together. And the man has a hand in his pocket and is
Looking
like
at the floor.
slouched.
Yeah. He slouches over, he looks at the floor, and he sings, and he kind of like does that head shake where he's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And we lose our minds.
It
It's so
works.
fun. Every time it works. It works.
Would you guys like to hear how Brooke and I decided to follow up a Hosier concert? So,
Of course.
like we mentioned, it was hot. And at first, we were like, oh, we're going to go to like a fun fitness class. And we ended up landing on like rock climbing. And then as the weather comes in, we're like, oh, it's going to be 95. We should be outside. I don't know. There were thoughts and processes. Like, it's nice out and sunny, so we should enjoy the weather.
Summer's like 2 weeks here, guys. Give this to us.
So we agree. We're gonna go paddleboarding, and we're like this is in like the Milwaukee area, and so for those of you who are not from Milwaukee or have any information on that, there are several lakes, and the main one is Lake Michigan. And we were like, we're not doing that because it's gonna be super choppy because it's a Great Lake, and so there's like it's basically an ocean. I know
Literally
that
white
someone's
caps
gonna say that
sometimes.
I'm dumb, but it is basically an ocean when it
Yeah.
comes to these sort of things. So we end up finding out about this like river that flows that you go against the current when you start at this one place and then you can kind of let the current take you back. And we're like, that sounds
Lovely.
perfect.
Yeah.
How did it go, Brooke?
It was great. Okay. We knew it was a little windy. It's fine. The wind was warm, whatever. So first of all, we have to park and then like walk to like put the paddleboards in the water. First of all, we didn't check the wind till the end of the day, you guys, okay? So we are trying to make it from car to water. It's blowing us, like it's turning us around in circles. Like it's almost tipping us over. We get in the water, cool. We're moving along, and we're like, oh, I don't even have to paddle. I laid on my back for like 20 minutes and I just let this little river take me. And then we were like, oh, okay, so we're gonna have to go against the current on the way back. Didn't plan that well. It's fine. It'll be great. We can, it's easy enough. We get to our turnaround point and we're like, we should probably go back now. We have to be back in like an hour. How many yards, Erica? It probably half of our time, maybe like a good 30 minutes to get, I don't know, distance. Like
20 feet?
maybe, I
It was
probably.
crazy. We need to be clear here. The wind was a little windy and nice breeze when we started.
Hmm.
Right about the time where like we should turn around, the wind picked up.
I swear.
Okay? It was crazy. So much to this point where we paddled for a couple minutes and we're like, we're not making anywhere. Let's actually just like hold on. We found a bridge and we just like held onto the bridge and we're like, let's just wait the wind out. It'll be fine. Fun fact: the wind did not allow itself to be waited out.
No,
It was
it
here to
did
stay.
not. So much so that we keep that bridge, there was a sign that said no trespassing because it was someone's private land. And I was like, what are the odds we deflate here and walk back to the car? And I just go I'm so sorry. I just like don't know how to get back. And I almost did, but then I was like, they could shoot us
Right.
before they see that we are innocent little girlies.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, we gotta muscle through this. Yeah, 30 minutes to go, maybe 20 feet. We are hauling, okay? There's a slight break in the wind. And I mean, from like what we found out later was like 36 miles per hour to like 28. And so we're going. I get about 5 feet, wind hits. I spin 360
Full circle.
into the weeds. And I'm just slowly, like so many times I actually had to like angle the board into the weeds to stop to take like a slug of my water. Slug? I don't know. Like I just could not. And trying to stay positive, right? We're like, we just keep going. We'll make progress where we can. I'm dropping F bombs. I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
so mad. I'm like, I'm gonna blow out my shoulder trying.
We were not in any danger. Like it was
No.
still like 2 p.m. at this time. So we're like, we have many hours till it's dark.
We just had plans.
We just had plans. And it was getting hard to not be angry.
Yeah.
Like very quickly. And if you stopped for like I cannot exaggerate this. If you stopped, what do you call this? Like paddling for any amount of time, you would go back like 10 feet. You would
Absolutely.
undo 10 minutes of work in 35 seconds or less. It was insane. So like I'm thirsty. We need to put sunscreen on. All these things. None. And it went from this like leisurely paddle where we're like talking and enjoying each other's company. We said like 8 words to each other on the way back to like communicate like here's an effective tool that's working for this exact moment that stops working in like 20 feet because the wind changed slightly. It was like a feat of strength, honestly. And you just couldn't stop. It was like
No.
so you're like going 100% of the time with no breaks until at one point Brooke did accidentally get lodged in the weeds, but then was like, actually, I can sit here for a second. That's when you got your water. That was beautiful.
I did. Because you're totally right. Like, I was trying like to keep the paddle on one side of the board because as soon as I picked it up to just shift to the other side, it would blow me like in a completely different direction. And I was so obnoxiously, randomly screaming ideas to Erica. I'm like, okay, do a zigzag, stay to the side, no, never mind, go to the middle. And meanwhile, also hating the sound of my own voice trying to figure this out. And yeah, at one point, your hat blew off, and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna get blown all the way back. And so I was like heading towards the weeds. I'm like, I'm just gonna go, I'm just gonna go. And I like lodged the paddle in like the muck, and I took a breath, and I was like, okay. And then I had a moment, right, where I'm like, this is like an analogy, a metaphor, I don't know, for my life recently, right? Because I'm hauling. And I'm like, okay, we're getting somewhere. No. Just like, but you're right. Like, honestly, what helped me, I leaned into the anger and I was like, and I just started going. And we knew, we're like, as soon as we turn like this corner, it's gonna be at least better. It still wasn't great, but it was better. So, my favorite thing is we made it. We get back and we're like, ugh. We deflate the paddleboards. We get in the car and Erica goes, now that that's done, I had fun. I was like, me too. Like there were no tears. We were still friends. Again, we knew we were safe. Like, cause worst comes to worst, we just had to jump off and like it was your idea. We're just gonna kickboard it, right?
Yeah.
And push it back. But like it was a little too deep to walk. And I also like, I don't want to step on stuff. Like
Yeah.
but I was like, I might have to face a fear today of I don't muck. But
Yeah.
we didn't. We made it back. Our shoulders were fine, minimal burn.
A
And we had a great time.
surprisingly minimal burn for
Yeah.
no reapplication.
And so much sweat, I'm sure. And me spraying myself with water as I rapidly move this paddle back and forth. It was a ride. It was a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't the scariest thing that we faced that weekend.
Okay. So Sunday night, everything's over. We've both returned to our homes. I'm like finishing editing the podcast that needs to be released at midnight because anytime that I'm in charge of editing, it is done at the last second. I'm really bad at this, you guys. I'm still working. It's fine. While I'm trying to find the like publish button on Spotify creators, I stumble upon our analytics. And I learned something about you guys. And I don't know how to say this because I think it will be surprising to some of you, and then some of you obviously will already know. 67% of you are men.
Why? Like, thank you. But like what why? We're
Yeah,
so mean to you.
yeah, we're so glad you're here. But like in 80% of the episodes, I will say something along the lines of like, I'm sure men have their problems, but I'm speaking to women. Turns out, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm speaking to like a couple women and then a large group of men. But yeah, I guess thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for caring about letting girls like things and romantasy books and letting us like kind of be mean to you every now and then.
Yeah.
Welcome. So
I don't know what this community is anymore.
it did really. When did you tell me that? Like at what point? Because you didn't text me. Like I didn't wake up to a text. But I
No,
remember
we
when you
talked
told me.
on the phone Tuesday, or
That's right.
yeah, or maybe even Wednesday. I went for a walk and I was like, let's just chat
Yeah.
about what's going on in the world because I didn't want to text you. I wanted to get the full reaction to how you felt about this podcast we've made, focusing on women navigating through the changes of their lives to find out that most people listening are men.
It was a plot twist for sure. I just had more confusion than anything. And again, guys, we're thankful you're here. But if you want to post in the comments, don't send me a DM. Don't do it. Please. For the love of God, don't DM me, okay? But post in the comments, why are you listening? We're curious. Like, part of me is really curious. We even had conversations where like, does anybody even care what we talk about ever? Like, the women who listen, or like, is it just our friends? No. And even the ones that are our friends, shout out to you guys, you're the best. But to be like, men tune in, I'm like, what? Like, we're cute and we're funny, but like, I don't get.
I'm thrilled to some extent because I just like I believe then that obviously if you're a man listening to this podcast, you must be a good man because you're listening to two women speak about like essentially the plight of being women. And I do think a lot of the times we try to like make sure that our content can be, applicable for men too, but we're always like, but I'm a girl.
Yeah.
And I guess, I'm so glad that you're here and that you're listening because I have no intention of changing our content moving forward
No.
at all.
Nope. Totally. So we will continue talking about the things we love to talk about. And if you're here for the ride, that's amazing. Thank you for being here and supporting us. Um, you're gonna love this next one. Here's our new idea, okay? B&B Romantasy Book Club. Okay?
It just has a ring to it.
It does. And who wants to guess the first book?
We are going to read Fourth Wing as our first Balanced and Bougie book club book. And full disclosure, I have already read the first book of Fourth Wing, but I was like, let's pause. I'm going to reread it while Brooke reads it for the first time, and we are going to discuss the ins and out of this text.
Yes. And we picked this one specifically, right? Because Akatar broke my brain as it did every single woman out there. And I was reading another really good fantasy series, and we almost chose that one. It's like it's the Shepherd King series. It's One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. But it was almost so good. It was just like so pure and like the stuff in there was pure that I'm like, no, I need something that I know I'm going to have many strong feelings about, maybe one way or the other, really strong characters. So we're really excited about this one. We will make sure we label, like, there are spoilers. This is what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So if you want to follow along with us, listen to it after the fact that you've read it, please do, because we're not going to hold back on our thoughts and feelings and try to skirt around because we would not be able to talk about anything.
No, yeah, we're going to spoil everything.
Yes, exactly. We respect, because like I feel, and I might have said this before, blessed beyond measure that so many people in my life I got to talk about my favorite parts of Akatar with who had read it and were loving it. And they all were super sensitive to like parts I hadn't gotten to yet. And all the magic was there. No one ruined anything for me. And I'm so grateful for that. So again, I will say it again, so it is not missed. We will ruin parts of this for you if you haven't read it yet. So for the love of God, please don't. But listen, after the fact, and join us because it'd be fun.
I think it's going to be great. We'll let you know which chapters we're discussing. So if you want to read the chapters before you come into the episode, we think that would be super fun. And then you can give us your opinions. And, there are going to be things that we really love. And then we're also going to be fairly, I think, critical to some extent. Mm-hmm. But I want to be, like, I plan on being critical through the lens of having fun. I'm not here to talk about prose for a romantasy book. If you're coming here to tell me that you think it could have been the language used could have been more floral, I don't care. We can talk about that with poetry some other time. This is, did I has good time? Yes. Check box.
Did something make me want to text my friend at 11:30 at night? Yes. Let's chat about it. That's the fun. We're keeping the fun.
Yes, exactly. We're really looking forward to this, and we're really hopeful that this will kind of grow the interactions within our community and give you guys something to do with us.
One other thing on the topic of spoilers that I'm not going to actually spoil, but mini spoil. Another thing from our weekend, the reason we had to race off of the river was because we had movie plans with some girly pops. We had dinner and movie plans, and it was great. And I was like, guys, 90s rom-coms are coming back. Chris Evans is in one of them. God is blessing the earth. Let's go. Let's spend $17 a ticket because that's how much movies cost on a Saturday now. And let's go see a rom-com, a love triangle. What movie, might you ask? Materialists, okay? Erica, the day before, is like, I have to tell you something. I don't think it's a rom-com. And I was like, there's no way. It's marketed as a rom-com. Chris Evans is a rom-com in and of himself.
Right.
This is what we've been waiting for, and all of our other friends agreed here. Because, like, I don't know, guys, just I didn't listen to any spoilers, but that's what I heard. Just go into it knowing. Not a rom-com. Rom, dram, no com. Like none.
Yeah.
Minimal. Super dram. Like heavy. Like some old man. There were so many cute old couples where the wife clearly dragged her husband. And at one point, middle of the movie, I usually hate when people interject. I loved this. It broke the wall that I needed. This man goes, well, this movie is serious. And I was like, it is. And it's not supposed to be. But do you know, one of the reasons, and I will let you finally talk, but so funny when you said that, and we were like, really? You know, and you're like, guess who produced it or directed it, or I don't know. The production company of Saltburn. And I was like, we're screwed. And we were.
I love A24. A24 is the production company that made Saltburn. They also made The Materialists. And I was kind of shocked to see they were going in a rom-com direction, but I was like, they have the most beautiful, like every movie I've seen by them. Yeah, their cinematography is better than anything else on the market right now. It's incredible, and they do so much storytelling through those visual means that I really appreciate. So I was like, maybe they should go into rom-coms, like, you know, give the girlies what they want. And I feel it's super important that the girlies know that, yes, there is romance in The Materialists, but you're not going to go into it and have, like, a feel-good, fun time. And actually, I think, if I zoom out, I don't think it was a well-done movie. No. In the script, in the storytelling. I think a lot of the actors did a good job. Slight hate to Dakota Johnson, because I think she played herself, as she always does. But, like, stuff just didn't make sense. And maybe things that were supposed to be funny didn't land as funny because of the overarching context of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. There were some major plot holes. Even some of our favorite actors in there could not balance out the very awkward energy. And I know they were trying to sell a deeper message, which part of me wanted to appreciate, but they didn't do it very well. And again, in the writing aspect of it. That's all I will say. I just felt like a PSA had to be said. So...
And if you want, guys, you know, let us know in the comments. I would love to tear The Materialists a new a-hole publicly. I think it'd be really fun.
I do too.
Because, yeah, I think it... I don't know if you've ever seen, like, there's this episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin talks about how he hates The Godfather, which is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. And his reasoning is, it insists upon itself. And when I think of The Materialists... that is a movie I would describe as something that insists upon itself. Like, it considered itself, like, it was too self-important in its attempt to share a message that I think it circumvented the entire message it tried to create and disproved its own point. Yeah, it was a very weird experience for a movie, but I had a lot of fun watching it with my friends because we talked a lot of smack.
That was a lifesaver when we would lean over to each other in the movie, or we would, like, something would happen and we would look at each other like, please. I needed those moments because the whole time I was really tense. And do you know what I wanted from this rom-com? Escapism. Take me away from real life. And they were like, no, here's real life and let's make it a little extra dark. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But what was the point of that? Like, not every movie has to be about overcoming something tragic, or not every movie has to be super serious. Like, why can't we just have a good time? That was supposed to be the point of movies.
Thank you. I mean, okay, we're already circling back to Y2K fashion. What about the movies? Bring me the 90s and 2000s rom-coms. I don't care if the plot is fluff and the acting is, well, let's say somewhat subpar. That's probably actually just Hallmark. Sorry, fam. But, like, bring it back. I want some Parent Trap out there. I want some How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I want fun. Okay?
Agreed. And the market is there. I mean, as we've talked about romance novels and, like, romantasy and all that a couple times on the podcast, I think women and men too, but women are like screaming for media aimed at them. And I think the big movies of, like, the last 10 years have been so focused on, like, changing the world, which like great, but you know what
Mhm.
else changed the world? Like Hunger Games, and there was enough romance in there for me to feel like it was romantic. So I'd like more than that, but you can do more than one thing at a time if you really feel the need. And I think the market is there, and you're missing a ton of money. Warner Brothers and A24 and all the other giant movie houses.
Yeah. You're totally right, because men fall in that category too of just loving an easy watch sort of
Mm-hmm.
love-y movie. It's we're all there for it. You guys, you're listening to the girl, and I'm pointing at Erica, and if you're listening, you can't see that, who looks for a love story in Star Wars.
Yeah. Well,
I
there
mean,
is
it's
a
not
love
kind of
story in
there.
Star Wars. It's
Yeah.
very clear, and it's important.
It is. Because that's what kept me watching too. I'm like, this is all fun. Let's get back to this Rey and Kylo Ren biz, okay? That's what I'm here for.
I think that you can't have a giant movie that covers an entire universe without there being some sort of romance. Because let's be real, romance and like romantic relationships and the downfall of romantic relationships, those are like, I would say, 20% of a lot of people's reality of life. And if you cut that whole section out, you're cutting out a whole section of life. And not saying that every movie has to have romance, but I do feel like it adds into the like world building experience for me. Like even, Lord of the Rings, it's definitely not like a focal point, but family and relationships and romantic relationships, those are foundations on which
Mm.
these societies function, and I enjoy that part a lot. So why don't you give me a movie where it's just about two people falling in love? That's what I want right now.
Yeah. And recast Chris Evans, because I don't know, that's always a good move in my
Yeah, give
opinion.
him another chance to be a leading man, or like a leading rom-com man.
Yeah, we need him.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So there are our thoughts and feelings, guys. If you've missed us and this side of us, there you
Mm-hmm.
go. Things to look forward to. B&B Book Club, potentially roasting materialists, and many, many more female-focused conversations to come.
Thanks, boys. We
Yeah.
appreciate you listening.
All right, guys. Like we always say, drop some comments in the comments and let us know what you think. And we will catch you next time.
Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye.